killed everybody here except for my sister, my brother, and me.
Okay, and what happened now?
There was a guy with a pistol or some kind of gun, and he came in and shot my mother and my grandma. Those were the only ones here, and they also killed one of my grandma's dogs.
You got a lot of head game. Oh my God!
Don't even get me thinking about that because it makes me so.
It wasn't anything like that.
33-year-old correctional officer Charlene O'Banion is being investigated for allegedly sleeping with an inmate, 28-year-old Jacob.
Oh man, we got a correctional officer sleeping with the inmate. Now we gonna see how this play out because it just started, so I ain't gonna run my damn mouth too much. But if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, comment, like, do all that, and thank you. Hope you're having a beautiful day.
28-year-old Jacob Parker. She believes she's covered up the affair and is going to get away unpunished. However, the detectives had acquired undeniable audio evidence and are about to expose her lies in embarrassing fashion.
Oh boy, they got phone conversation. You know, when they got them phone conversation in them texts, there ain't nothing you can really do. You know what I'm saying? That's like point blank evidence right there.
Fashion.
I get very, very easy. I always want to have.
Not good.
I feel like I just like look at someone. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so. No, like of course, like I only get for you.
In the beginning of the interrogation, Charlene's confidence is bounding as she is sure she can lie her way through the detective's questions.
We're notified of a possible improper relationship between you and Jacob Parker.
I don't know anything about it.
Have you talked to him on any jail phone calls?
No.
After being pressed on how these rumors could have surfaced, Charlene tries another strategy and begins explaining a false alibi that she had only met her alleged lover once and that it was another jealous inmate that started the rumors.
So there was an inmate named Justin Coker, and he tried to contact me on Facebook. I guess one time Parker was going back to Pequot to use the bathroom, and he was talking like at the window with me. And I guess Coker like didn't like that. Parker had told me that he had gone up to him and was like, don't talk to her or something crazy like that.
The investigators instantly refute her story with evidence, and Charlene again has to think on her toes. This time, she discloses that she and Jacob had known each other prior to either of them being at the jail.
There's jail calls between you and Parker. All that stuff's recorded. I don't think you're being completely truthful.
I didn't know he was here. It wasn't anything like that.
Having worked at the prison for years, Charlene knew the ins and outs of the prison. However, she was uninformed that...
So now you trying to say somebody else was setting that rumor up. And I'm confused. She said she met up with him one time.
Every call made from a prison phone was recorded.
So what about some of these phone conversations?
Like sexual?
So I take it as that you've given at some point.
No.
I gather from these calls.
Realizing that the detectives know more than she thought, Charlene begins to display signs of nervousness as her original story begins to crumble. Already, the correctional officer has admitted to having a past sexual relationship with Jacob, as well as calling him regularly from her home phone. Hinting that more physical evidence may exist, the detectives begin further questioning her about the phone calls, to which Charlene denies any further wrongdoing.
Have you given him any photographs?
I gave him a photograph of his mom, which she had asked for, and of his dog, Jax.
One of the things we're going to be doing is like looking at cameras and stuff too. Has there been any times where y'all were alone? Did you give him any nude photographs or anything?
No, I don't take naked pictures.
Unfortunately for Charlene, the investigators decide it's time to play the audio they've acquired, and it's safe to say that she is extremely uncomfortable having to listen back to her old conversations.
Hey, baby.
I got a lot of stuff to clean and get rid of before you come home. I'm just kidding. I was trying to make you think I have like secret things.
Yeah, I bet you do.
What?
What? You probably got this weird swing hanging from the ceiling.
Oh, if I had that swing, you better believe I'd leave that up for you.
You let me put you in it?
Hell yeah!
Despite the suggestive phone conversations, there still has been no physical evidence or admittance of the two engaging in any actual sexual activity. However, that quickly changes after Jacob begins to become more explicit.
You are fine, baby. And you got a lot of head game. Oh my God.
Don't even get me thinking about that because it makes me so. You felt me, I was like soaking through my clothes.
Due to the nature of the call and the time period it was placed, Jacob just directly incriminated Charlene, but she continues to deny. The detectives try asking if she believes Jacob would cover for her if the audio was played in front of him, and she still doesn't break.
So do you think this dude's really gonna cover for you? Like if I bring him in here and we start playing this?
He's gonna tell you what I told you.
Becoming aggravated, the investigators decide to start pressing harder on the gaps in Charlene's memory, wondering why she can remember the sexual encounter so vividly, but no other details from that night.
Talk about how profound this was, giving him this was, but you like don't remember anything about it. It's like
I mean, I gave him how do you describe
You seem to have blanks in your memory when we get to certain details. This is your one chance to be honest with us. Have y'all had any inappropriate contact, whether it's groping?
None of that.
Until, shockingly, she says this.
I might have given him a back part of you.
How long ago was that?
2 months ago.
Sensing her willingness to reveal details, the detective pressed for more information.
Has anything else happened?
No, we haven't had in the facility. It was just that.
While their encounter may seem consensual, federal law explicitly prohibits and criminalizes all sexual contact between prison staff and inmates, and Charlene had just confessed to the abuse.
It's illegal to have sexual contact with an inmate as an employee.
Like where, Joe?
That's up to the DA's office.
After the embarrassing interrogation, Charlene O'Brien subsequently pled guilty to improper sexual activity with a prison in custody and lost her job as a prison guard. She would only be allowed back into prison to serve the 100 days confinement she was sentenced.
Well, damn, she done gave my man a blowjob in the prison. That's crazy. She done lost her job and had to do 100 days for nothing. And they talking the way they talking on the phone. You know you need some help. For the simple fact, this motherfucker in prison and you trying to have a relationship with him, knowing what you just put yourself through. That was very risky. You know, you had a lot to lose, and then I don't think you can get into a government facility. I don't know if that's a felony, misdemeanor, however they look at it, because I don't know anything about that type of work. But I know she can't work in no prison no more, because she up here messing with the inmates and shit and stuff.
911.
Somebody broke into our house last night, and I don't know who it was, but they killed everybody here except for my sister, my brother, and me.
Okay, and what happened now?
There was a guy with a pistol or some kind of gun, and he came in and shot my mother and my grandma. Those were the only ones here, and they also killed one of my grandma's dogs. So we still have 3 dogs left.
Did you just now come home?
No.
Were you there last night?
Yes, I was just afraid to call.
Okay, and did the police come out last night?
No.
They didn't?
No. The only people here are me, my sister, and my brother.
How old is your sister and your brother?
My sister's like a few months old. My brother's only 4.
How old are you?
9.
Man, I don't know what to say. You got to call him brave, courageous, fucking everything in the book that you can to honor someone, because he was able to keep a little kid and a baby quiet during that whole time. A kid and a baby. Shot the dog, the grandma, the mom. I mean, this is some crazy shit, man.
Where were they taken last night?
In my house. There's blood splattered everywhere.
Do you know who done this?
No.
Okay, honey, you stay on the line, okay?
In 2007, an intruder broke into a home in Raineyville, Kentucky, and gunned down all 3 adults in the house. As bullets rang through the air, 9-year-old Matthew Pete hid in a closet with his younger brother and sister, too terrified to move until morning, when he called 911. Jody Shacklett, the 911 call operator who answered his call, couldn't quite believe what she was hearing, so it took her a while to grasp that it wasn't a prank. Yet, despite the unimaginable caller had experienced the previous night, he showed remarkable courage when speaking to the 911 operator and made sure she understood he needed help. When authorities arrived, they found the bodies of the 31-year-old mother, Tracy Burke, and 53-year-old grandmother, Karen Comer. The children were taken to safety. The intruder was the young caller's stepfather and U.S. Army Sergeant, Brent Burke. At the time of the murders, Brent and Tracy Burke were in the middle of getting divorced. Her divorce would have been finalized 4 days after the murders. Karen Comer was the mother of Burke's first husband, Michael Pete. It was his son who had hid during the massacre with his younger siblings and later called 911. When Comer's daughter heard of her mother's and her ex-sister-in-law's brutal murders, she told the News Enterprise, "I heard my mom was shot. I knew it was Brent Burke," she said. "He was always capable of this." Burke was buried in Kirby Flats Cemetery. 9-year-old Matthew Pete said, "The feeling of being loved by my mom is by far my overarching memory of her. I think about my mom multiple times a day. Every single day. I miss her." After his mother was taken so violently, Pete moved in with his father, and they moved to California. 8 years after the horrific night of September 11th, 2007, Pete met the 911 call operator who answered his call when he was awarded a 911 Hero Award for his bravery in 2015. When the Kentucky Emergency Services Conference announced the beginning of an annual award for children who bravely called 911, Dispatch Supervisor Kim Lewis didn't hesitate to nominate Pete. At this time, Pete was a 17-year-old high school senior and was considering a career in law enforcement in his future. When accepting the award, Pete first thanked Shacklett and then directed his gratitude to the officers who helped him that night. The world would be a much worse place if it weren't for all the things you do. Thank you, all of you dispatchers, all of the detectives, all of the officers. Thank you, he said. After 2 mistrials, 2 hung juries, and some charges being dropped and others arising, Burke was convicted by a U.S. military court and sentenced to life without the possibility of parole at Fort Leavenworth Prison in Kansas. The convicted double murderer has since been transferred to U.S. Penitentiary in Pine Knot, where he continues to serve his life sentence.
Now look at this scumbag right here. Ain't even representing our flag the proper way. You up here killing women, you know what I'm saying, over a divorce. And it was about to be finalized in 4 days. So you definitely a scumbag in my eye. On top of that, you a coward. You done killed the dog who was probably going to tear your ass up because of how you were acting, the energy you was projecting, and the shit you just carried on that night. Now, thank God you was in the mind state you was in and didn't get everybody in the house, you know. I just hate to see, like, this little baby got to grow up not knowing who this wonderful person is, who these wonderful people you took are. So, y'all be careful. Hopefully, y'all can read the energy. And when I say read the energy, hopefully you can tell when you don't feel right. Or hopefully somebody who loves you and care about you can tell when something ain't right. And hopefully, you know, that could prevent something from happening. But I know in situations like this, I guess you just who you are, so it happens the way it happens.